Well, Oklahoma has made it to the stretch run of the 2024 season. The question now is, can the Sooners cross the finish line? We'll see. What's up, everybody? This is the Sooners on SI Weekend Preview. I'm John Hoover. That's Ryan Chapman. Ryan, OU is 2/3 of the way through the college football season, and they're riding yet another three-game losing streak. Those never happened under Lincoln Riley or Bob Stoops, the three-game losing streaks. But in 3 seasons, Brent Venables has now provided 2 of those. The last coach to do that at Oklahoma was John Blake. You knew that. The last time OU lost 4 in a row, you guys. Yeah, 1998, John Blake. But OU's not going to lose 4 in a row this time, right? Right? Because the Sooners have the Maine Black Bears coming to town on Saturday. It is a 1:30 p.m. kickoff. If you'd rather stay home and watch it, it's going to be on, let me see if I get this right, SEC Network Plus. So good luck finding that on your TV viewer. Ryan, Maine is an FCS team, Division I AA, whatever designation you want to call them. They're only allowed to give 63 scholarships. They come in here with a 4-4 record. All 4 of their losses are by double digits. A lot of their players come from prep schools or military academies. That's not knocking anybody. That's just saying you're not going to find any of their recruits on the Rivals or 24/7 or ESPN rankings, right? So OU's favored to win by 34.5. And if you go back and look at the 7 times that the Sooners have played a Division I AA opponent, the average score was 62-4. Woof. So Ryan, my question is this: is this Oklahoma team good enough to pull off another 62-4 coming on Saturday? I think we saw a little improvement last week at Ole Miss, especially the first half for the offense. But if they show a little more improvement, just a little more improvement, with Joe John Finley calling plays and Kevin Johns coaching quarterbacks and Jackson Arnold running the offense, can we expect to see enough improvement heading into next week's game at Missouri?
Fitting with the week ahead, yes, we can. Yes, we can see that kind of thing. We saw this Oklahoma team, even with the dysfunction of the Seth Luttrell offense, hang a 50-burger on Temple. Was that aided by a bunch of short fields? Absolutely. I know that I have spent a lot of time ragging the Owls this year. They are somehow night and day better than Maine. So even without the turnover look, yes, that should be something that Oklahoma should be able to expect. And there are pieces to really build off of, legitimately. I know that we have buried Oklahoma in every single post game, but we talked about it, right? Halftime, Oklahoma running the ball so well, 125 yards, rushing against Ole Miss's top-ranked in the country rush defense at halftime a week ago. Jack Snarl got that thing going. You shouldn't be in a spot where Bauer Sharp or anyone is feeling the need to false start against Maine or anything like that. It should be a calmer, much more serene operation for the offense. So yeah, I think that you can expect and you should expect to see Oklahoma lay the smacketh down on the Black Bears. And it doesn't have everything to do with Maine, sure, but it was a little bit of progress. And now the onus for Oklahoma is in a season devoid of momentum. Not once have we left that stadium and anyone really felt good other than the Auburn game. Can the Sooners find a way to build off the good from a week ago and try and take those nuggets of confidence into a game prep week where they need to upset Missouri to make a bowl game?
I agree with all that, Ryan. Let me ask you about the defense. We saw some red flags, I think, from the OU defense last week in Oxford. But honestly, Jackson Dart is a future pro. He's a future NFL guy. He might be the guy that we look at on this schedule and say that was the best quarterback. And even though he was missing his best receiver, a guy who led the nation in receiving yards, and Trey Harris, Jackson still had some dudes to throw to, including look at all those tight ends, right? So we don't know what the Missouri quarterback situation is going to look like next week, but beyond that, Jalen Milroe at Alabama and Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, a couple of proven, well, I don't know about proven. Milroe, certainly a proven starter. Nussmeier might be the best quarterback or having the best season of any quarterback in the conference right now. Those guys are really, really good at times this year. They've been exceptional. So what are some areas that you want to see improvement from the Oklahoma defense against Maine? So again, maybe they can be in a better place for those last 3 SEC games.
Yeah, three things for me, my list, and this is in order. Number 1, turnovers. been a couple of weeks without the turnover for Oklahoma. On defense, they did force a turnover against Ole Miss. It was J.J. Hester, Falcon punch, everything you wanted there. So turnovers, get back to that. I don't think that it's really the defense's fault against South Carolina. I think that South Carolina went ultra conservative once they were up 21-0 and said, our Achilles heel has been Lenora Sellers. Let's get him in situations where he's not holding to the football. But they need that. They're going to have to set the offense up in a short field a couple of times probably to pull an upset the rest of the way. So that's the first thing. Number two for me, the obvious one, I guess, is erase some of those big plays on the back end of the defense. And this needs to be a situation where you see no coverage bust. There need to be no miscommunication issues against Maine, that kind of thing. But I actually think that the third thing that might be the biggest effect on what the season is the rest of the way, barring turnovers, is can Oklahoma generate pressure, a pass rush on non-third and long or second and long situations? That's been my biggest nitpick, other than the obvious coverage busts for Oklahoma's defense this year, has been when they get teams into third and long, R. Mason Thomas comes alive. They rarely get them there, though, until they put them back into third and long, down 2 scores, stuff like that. And what you saw from Ole Miss is if they were in 2nd and 5, Lane Kiffin had every option at his disposal, and that gave Jackson Dart plenty of time to, whether it's an RPO, slice and dice over the middle of the field with the tight ends, whether it's just being able to be a little bit more patient. Oklahoma not hitting home in second and mediums on a 4-man rush. This should be a game where it might not mean that it's fixed for the rest of the year, Hoove, but they should be able to overpower Maine's offensive line, and they should be creating third and longs because they're just in a 4-man rush on a second and medium, and it doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's got one of the nation's best run defenses. I think they showed that last week at Ole Miss. So if Maine is able to somehow run the ball, that's all kinds of new red flags. I don't think I think it's a given that Maine's not going to be able to run the football. I think they're going to be in second and long, third and long a lot. And that's where I want to see those defensive ends, whether it's Ethan Downs or PJ Adebawore or R. Mason Thomas, whoever it is, get those guys off the edge. Caden Woolard, we saw him with his first OU sack last week, first full sack last week. I want to see him get after the quarterback a little bit. I want to see all those guys crashing the edge, collapsing the pocket. No points on the scoreboard, at least 2 takeaways, and don't give up any deep busts in the throw game. If you do that, and all of a sudden you go into your final third of your last 3 SEC games with a little bit of thumbs up, green light momentum for me. Anyway, good stuff, Ryan. Thanks, man. As always, Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com is where you're going to find the most comprehensive coverage of OU sports and certainly Sooner football. On Saturday, we're going to have a team of 3 in Norman to bring you all the pregame coverage, all the latest breaking news, all the up-to-date injury reports, our world-famous in-game live blog, our post-game interviews with players, coaches, our own post-game reaction from the field, and, of course, the Sooners on SI podcast, certified fresh from the press box. We will not be evicted from the press box at a premature date this time, like we have been when we go on the road in the SEC. It's a home game, so we're going to be there late, giving you all the late stuff, all the good stuff. And don't forget, all that content is free. All you got to do is keep it right here at Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. For Ryan Chapman, I'm John Hoover. See you guys.